Hi, Math 7 students. Welcome to Week 8 volume of pyramids. So once again, just as a review, volume is the amount of space inside a three-dimensional figure, and it's measured in cubic units. Okay, so whatever the units are, inches, feet, it all should have a cube after it, or an exponent of 3. So volume of a pyramid is 1/3 times big B times H. So the interesting part is the big B. The big B represents the area of the base, or the area of the bottom shape. And that's either going to be some sort of square or rectangle, okay, which means you would be doing length times width or base times height, or it could be a triangle. And if it's a triangle, you'd be doing 1/2 base times height. So that part kind of changes. And then you're always going to be multiplying by H, and H is how tall the height or how tall the pyramid is. Okay, so right there, that measurement, that's going to be our H. All right, so we're going to start and kind of bounce back and forth because honestly, your big B is going to change. Okay, your big B is going to depend on what the shape is. So looking at the first one here, my shape here is a rectangle. I know it kind of looks like a parallelogram because it's slanted, but that's just because they were trying to make this pyramid look 3D. So big B in this case, because its volume equals 1/3 big B times H. Big B is a rectangle. So since it's a rectangle, you're going to be multiplying length times width. So that's going to be 23 times 14. That's what big B is. So if I do 23 times 14, I'm going to get 322. So that's what my big B is. So if I come up in the formula, volume equals 1/3 times 322 times my other measurement here of 25, which is my height. When you go to do this in the calculator, you can't really do 1/3 in your calculator on the computer. Okay, it doesn't really work like that. So what I would do is I would multiply the numbers together that I know and then just divide by 3. So I'm going to multiply 322 times 25 and then divide by 3. Okay, that's the same thing as multiplying by 1/3. So that's going to give me 2,683.3 repeating. So 2,683.3 repeating yards cubed. And that 0.3 repeating, if they want you to write it as a fraction, that's 2,683 and 1/3 yards cubed. Okay, that's how that is represented. So it kind of just depends. The 0.3333 repeating just means it's going to be 1/3. So it depends on your IXL what they want you to write. So if you see the 0.333 repeating and they don't want you to write it as a decimal, they want you to write it as a fraction, that's 1/3. Okay, so I'll accept either of these answers, but they might specify when you complete the IXL assignment. All right, looking at the next one. So the next one, if I'm looking at my base here, my base is a triangle. Okay, it's a little bit of a slanted triangle, but it's a triangle. So since my base is a triangle, to find big B in my formula, I'd be doing 1/2 base times height. Okay, so that is 1/2 8 times 6. So in my calculator, I can do 8 times 6 and then divide by 2. And that gives me 24. So my big B is 24. So my volume is 1/3 big B times H. So 1/3 big B is 24 times my height is my other measurement I haven't used yet, which is 10. So in my calculator, how I'm going to do this is I'm going to do 24 times 10 and then divide by 3. Gives me 80 feet cubed. If you want to use the fraction button in your calculator, if you're using not the computer calculator and you're using your normal calculator, you can just put 1/3 in as a fraction. You'll get the same answer. All right, let's come over here. My base has changed again. So my base right here is a rectangle. So if it's a rectangle, to find big B, I'm doing length times width. So that's going to be 8 times 14. So 8 times 14 is 112. So my volume is 1/3 big B times H, and H is the measurement I haven't used yet, which is 11. So 1/3 times 112 times 11. So in my computer calculator, I'm going to do 112 times 11 and then divide by 3 to see what it gives me. Gives me 410.666 repeating. That 0.666 repeating is 2/3. Okay, so you can either write it as a decimal, 110.6 repeating, okay, for my volume, centimeters cubed, or that 0.6 repeating is 2/3. So if they want it as a fraction in IXL, 0.6 repeating is 2/3. Okay, so either one of those answers works. All right, next one, we're going back to a triangle base. So I need to use the 1/2 base times height. So since this is a triangle, we're doing big B is 1/2 for 3 times 4. So that's going to give me 6. Okay, so my volume is 1/3 times big B times H, and H is what I haven't used yet, which is the 4. So 1/3 times 6 times 4. So I can go in my calculator and plug that in. I'll just use my separate calculator and we get 8. Okay, so that's 8 inches cubed. They might throw in some of these word problems here in IXL, so I wanted to do a few. A triangular pyramid. So right away I know the pyramid is a triangle. So since it's a triangle, I'm going to be doing big B is 1/2 base times height. So it's shaped like a right triangle. That's what my base is shaped like. The legs of the right triangle are 12 and 6. So that's my B. These are my base and my height. Okay, so that's going to be 12 times 6. And the pyramid's height, so in my volume formula, big BH, the pyramid's height is 9. Okay, so I'm going to start with big B. So 0.5 times 12 times 6 gives me 36. So volume is equal to 1/3 times 36 times the height of 9. So I can show you in the calculator, 36 times 9, okay, divided by 3, 108. So my volume is 108 inches cubed. All right, guys, I'll see you in a little bit during our live Teams meetings.